Yo, what's going on? So is James here, and I'm bringing you. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my
Okay.
name is Lu Bim Hong mà do Vu Tua Lee na Sam Hong Lee and I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Hey,
Lacrosse, right?
uh but everybody just call me Coach Lee now, right? It's so basically I'm coach for MMA striking and Muay Thai. You know, I got my certification as a crew, which means teacher, lalu Thai na,
Mm.
and since 2008.
Right. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk with you, Coach Lee, is because I wanted you to talk a little bit about um, Muay Thai and kind of more on that spectrum in terms of health and fitness. Because I think a lot of people, especially on the Hmong Fitness page, we when we think about like health and fitness, we only think about like lifting weights or like running or like dieting. And there's a lot of people I think on the page that likes to do other things. And I feel like sometimes we talk about, again, lifting weights so much that some of the other things like mixed martial arts or Muay Thai or like rock climbing or swimming and cycling. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Hmong people
Yeah.
on the page that does like a whole bunch of other things, but you guys don't get enough shine. So this is kind of like, your moment to shine, when we talk a little bit about what you do. So kind of like what you're saying, you're a coach, you're a referee and judge for Muay Thai, and currently right now you're in lacrosse, right? And did I also hear that you are
Mhm.
in Minnesota as well, right? Because I remember the last time I came to Minnesota for the big event, you were saying you were in Minnesota.
All right.
So
I usually stay there on the weekend, back and
okay.
forward, depending on what kind of project I do. So
Okay,
that's why
so
they say, why don't you just move to Minnesota at some point? I say, I can't really do that right away, too. Maybe in the
yeah.
future, but not right away. But I do, whenever I have a project, I'm there almost every weekend.
Okay.
You know, from La Crosse, Wisconsin to Saint Paul, Minneapolis, it's about 2 hours and a quarter only. So it's not that far.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just, just to kind of give the people who's listening to this kind of like your location. So in case like they do want to dab a little bit into what you're doing and kind of like your philosophy on things, they know where to come to and where they can find you. La Crosse, Wisconsin, and kind of in the Twin Cities here and there, depending on the kind of projects that you have. All right. So, just to kind of get like the introductions out of the way, Coach Lee, I met him some years ago. We've done lifting events together. Coach Lee's also sponsored me many, many times in the past, when I wasn't that big of a lifter. When I was traveling out to these big countries as a younger person, I think Coach Lee and many other people reached out to me to kind of help pay a little bit here and there. And this is kind of, just to kind of show you what kind of person he is, even just before even thinking about hiring him as a coach, But generally, one of the things that I want to talk to you about is how did you get into Muay Thai? So you said you've been a coach for since 2008. So we're looking at what,
Mhm.
10 plus years, right? 12,
Uh,
some 15.
yeah, 14, 15 years. Yeah.
Yep. And then I see a lot
That's
of
when I
like,
got my certification that say like, yeah, you're Itunia crew in Thai means teacher, right?
teacher.
Certified under my gym in and I back then I used to live in Canada,
Mm.
uh, close to Toronto. So that's why I got my training. That's why got my certification. But then Yoko saw like just Muay Thai. I've been in Muay Thai since 1997, so that's like even like 20 years plus, right?
Nice.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, how I got involved into Muay Thai or just martial art in general is like right?
Yep.
So you always been involved into some kind of martial arts we start to grow up and teenager. So I know towards like mid high school, that's why I got into like kung fu, karate, taekwondo, all that, boxing, kickboxing. But then
Wow.
to you're stronger. I was younger, stronger, stockier. So I just want to go and knock people out, right? That's bit on here like younger philosophy, brain function.
Uh-huh.
Not to say that, you know, I was born like that too, you know. So if I go back even Toku, when I was born, I was kind of like a chubby kid, you know, low
Yeah.
self-esteem, you know. So eventually you learn, you progress, and like I say, if nobody really teach you, life will teach you. And
Yeah.
you know, you either feel sorry for yourself or you find way to improve yourself, right? So let me precise that too. Nobody was born perfect. Nobody was born a champion, you know.
Uh-huh.
But you can make change throughout your life, right? So anyway, that's how I got introduced into martial art. You know, in my when I was in high school, and then you know I tried all those different martial art, and then I just see that, oh man, like you know, taekwondo, all that is good, but to go face a tall guy, it's very disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
But then I got introduced in Muay Thai in 1997, you know, and then I went to try it and I said, wow, I like that. It's just like I go bang the person and the other person bang me, and they teach you how to stay nice and strong and cover up and just punch back. So to me, it
Nice.
just makes more sense. And, you know, the martial art itself make more sense to me because, like I said, you know, like I said, the way I teach fighting against taller guys that don't run away from the tall person. Just stand there, learn how to block and counter. So
Yeah.
that's how my style of Muay Thai taught me, right? Because Muay Thai, there's a lot of different style too. There's Dutch boy who's very combo, hit. And there's the old traditional Muay Thai. It's like, you know, take a hit, bring it back. So that's kind of what I bring. That's what I've been taught, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I got introduced into Muay Thai.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I was gonna ask. So generally, when you decided that you were gonna do Muay Thai over like some of the other ones, a lot of it was just practicality, right? So
Yeah,
kind of like what Bruce Lee was saying, you know, you could like learn
yeah,
so many
just
different
you know,
martial
yeah,
arts, but the one that you want to utilize is the one that's most effective and efficient, right?
yeah, just like your kosa lifting weights, right? Some people like to lift weight for bodybuilding. Some like to powerlifting in you. So it's not
Yeah.
just lifting weight in general. There's like every little section too, right?
Mhm.
So that's what people have to understand. You know, when you lift weight for powerlifting, the technique are different than bodybuilding and all that extra things. So same thing for martial arts, same thing for Muay Thai itself.
Hmm. Yeah. So with that said, after all of the years that I guess you've got into martial arts, right? From the beginning to where you are now, do you feel like some of the things that you've experienced or learned, you know, as a coach, as a practitioner of Muay Thai, how do you feel like it's helped out your life? You know, so let's just say like if I'm a regular person
Yeah.
and maybe I don't like martial arts like the way that you like it, how can you convince someone like me that what you offer is like important? You know, like how does it affect your everyday life?
I think Lolu effective or whichever the right word that you mentioned just mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
important. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think in general it's just gonna improve your health quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that you know it's gonna better your health style, your cardio, you know, your coordination, your balance. You're gonna build some muscle, you're gonna turn it up, right? So you're gonna improve all that physical aspect of yours that is not very active, then cardio wise and all that is gonna improve you in that aspect. So not only in the health uh, uh um healthy, also self-defense, right? Because
Yep.
like the right way, you know. You know, and then you know, not just la tola throw kick and punch, but actually know how to time it, aim it, and then connect it at the right uh, 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 body part that you want to connect, right? Because anybody
Yep.
can just swing, you know, but to be able to kind of like uh, hit, like say, you have to have some kind of coordination. You have to be in some kind of training, right?
Yep.
So it's not just like swinging and hoping that you're gonna connect and knock somebody out, or if for self-defense wise, right? Because you have to know how to balance yourself. You have to know your distance between you and your opponent and all that extra things. So health wise, yeah, it's going to improve all your cardio, you know, and your coordination, your balance, but also for your self-defense, you know, be able to protect yourself, or if you need to protect you know, your loved one.
Yeah, I really like that you you know, that you added that little piece at the end too about like self-defense, because I think especially nowadays, you know, especially after the COVID era, you know, where big Hmong and small Asian women or like really, really old men, you know, especially the people who run like shops and things like that, a lot of these people are getting beat up, they're getting robbed. You know, there was an old lady, an old Hmong lady. I think she got beat up by like three teenagers
Right.
in Minnesota, you know, because they mistaken her as a Chinese person, you know?
Right.
So when you think about, I guess, health and fitness too, like, yeah, it's good to be like strong. It's good to have muscles, but you know, if you got power of muscles, but you don't know what to do with it when you're in a situation where three people are coming at you know, learning a little bit more about how to strike, I think is really important, right? And I
Right.
think, you know, Coach Lee would be one of the people that you would reach out to for these particular instances, if that makes sense, you know. So a long time ago, I think we ran like a little health event in Minnesota, right, in 2017 or so, and we kind of had like all the teachers kind of teach their class. And physically, I think I got the most worn out by Coach Lee's class. Because you know when you think about lifting, you're just staying in one spot, right? But when you're like punching and you're moving and you're like using your whole body like in a different way to kind of create force, kind of to move your whole body here and there, it's a workout. All right, it could be something super simple, but I guarantee you, if you just want to lose a little bit of weight, I think even just doing some of Coach Lee's warm-ups is already good enough, you know. But even on top of that, you learn how to defend yourself in case like anything bad happens, you know. And I, you know, another thing that I wanted to highlight is that particular piece. So from, you know, I remember you were saying about like striking, right? And different styles. So generally, how would you kind of describe like your philosophy on how you teach? Because I remember having a conversation with you a long time ago as well, where you say like, you know, your style is maybe less aggressive, right? You tend to be more articulate about how you
Right.
approach your you know your style, I guess, you know. So could you
Right.
explain that a little bit?
Well, when we talk about it, it's like there's only kind of two aspects of like strikers, right? There's the one who like to be aggressive and always offense and and they're not scared to get hit too, right? So those in that sense is always offense move, always in your face and trade and bang with you, right? That's offense, and you always go like, you remember the late Yamua? He was just like that. He was just go in your face and just ground and pound with you, and you know, like to dodge and dodge. So almost similar to like the Dutch style, you know, they just go combo, combo, knockout, combo, combo, knockout, boom, boom. So in that aspect, it's more offensive, right? I was taught the more defense approach, where like defense counter. Okay, so I let the person come to me, I block and I boom, I counter, right? So you see the difference in the style, right? One likes to be attacking, you know, and being like always on your face. Not saying that being a defense counter is not going to be in your face, but it's more like let the guy come, the person come, you block and you counter. You block or come my, right? But so you see the different style. And then, like I say, there's no better than the other. It's just how you apply, right? It's how you apply the technique. That's all. That's gonna make you win the fight or whatsoever. Because, you know, in every sport, you know, they like say, if we talk about like maybe basketball, like you have both basketball team who like to be offensive, always go and shoot, and then they have those team who are like more defensive. So, you know, the defense, they catch the offense and they go back countering. You know what I mean? So everything, there's always different style, kind of each approach how you're gonna coach depending on whatever specific area you are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that because you know, some people may be, like you said, aggressive, or some people may be genetically gifted, you know, to where
Right,
maybe they like their weapons a little bit more, like John Jones, right? He's got long arms.
right,
More than likely, if you taught him your techniques, he would be more aggressive because he has advantage over most people, right? But someone like
right,
me, who's a little bit smaller, maybe I might
right,
benefit a little bit more from a technical defend and hit and,
right,
you know, move away, you know. So yeah, that's really
right.
cool.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your time. You know, my technique, the way I teach is especially works better for they have a hard time to learn. They are actually they're not fast learner, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people who like to be offensive, they catch on very fast. The combo they do, boom, boom, 1, 2 times they can throw 4, 5 combo. Those are the very fast learner, right?
Yep.
And the people who like to be offensive move always in your face. For the people who kind of had time to learn all those extra combo and move, then I teach them how to pace them down, do the simple basic footwork and strike. But as long as you're nice and strong on your feet, and you don't lose your balance, then you'll be able to strike, connect with only 1 or 2 moves, right?
Yep.
So in that sense, the way I teach is more like kind of a more like slower pace,
Yep.
you know, as opposed to teach you combo like 3, 4 combo, bum bum bum, more like slower pace. But I teach also focus more on your balance, and if you throw a strike, don't lose your balance, because people don't realize that is that when they even okay and they throw
Yep.
one strike, they lose their balance if they don't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
right?
Man, you ain't kidding. And I think, you know, a lot of these little things, you know, I think a lot of people take for granted. You know, just very small, basic things like having good balance, because, you know, bodybuilders, the more you lift weights, the more muscles you get, the more unbalanced you are. You know, we get kind of awkward now. Like me, I used to be pretty athletic, but now that I've just, you know, spent what, like 15 plus years, I molded my body just into kind of like a person that is prime only to lift really, really heavy weights, you know. And I think that's kind of bad in a different way, because now I'm not agile, you know, I'm not as athletic as I used to be. And I find that if I was to learn, you know, martial arts or how to fight, you know, I would want to spend that time to be more technical and more defensive, you know. So you said 1997 you started. Did you get
Mm.
into any tournaments yourself? Because I know you do a lot of
Yeah.
judging.
So
So
so yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
yeah. So how I got into what I really introduced to Muay Thai was 1997. I remember perfectly, because I was like doing boxing, kickboxing, and I thought I'm good. Until I want to try to Atkan, right, which is master, the new club, and he showed me to already to stay in,
Mhm.
boxing, taekwondo, and a lot of other martial arts. They're very jumpy and they like to move a lot, right?
Yep.
The style he told me, like I say, is like stay nice and strong your feet, and stay strong, don't lose your balance, learn how to block and counter. So I said, wow, I really like it. Because I'm not too agile myself, but it
Yep.
allows me to kind of be more aware of my coordination and my balance. So that's how I learned. That was way back in 97. So yeah, back then in 1997, Canada, it was illegal to compete in Muay Thai, because it was too
Wow. It was
dangerous, right?
illegal.
We're talking about 1997, so a long time ago. So
Hey,
it was
man, this is good
illegal.
stuff though. This is
Yeah,
good stuff. This
you
is
know how
spicy.
MMA started. Yeah, you know how MMA started. It was illegal, but now it's all over the
Yep.
place. So, Satya Muay Thai was illegal back then in Ontario, Canada, where I used to live. So, train, like I was in my mid-20s, right? And you train so hard and you're ready to go fight. And 2 or 3 tournaments, like and they say, hey, you gotta shut down everything. I said, oh my god, the cops came in, right? So it's not like somebody just came in and tell you to stop. It's the cops,
Yeah.
They come, they say, hey, you gotta shut down. Okay, you travel 1 or 2 hours to go fight, and then they tell you cancel. I say, wow, man. So anyway, Kuchili kind of in and out after that. It wasn't until like 2003
Hmm.
that cũng kind of in and out of Muay Thai, you know. So, and I thought, and I think just based on my USASA, I was pretty good because kanya spada tanya top guy, and you did good. But again, I was in and out, and it wasn't until like 2003 that Kutu Achana, my master, came to me, called me and said, "Hey, by the way, it's legal now to fight amateur Muay Thai in Pelula, Ontario, Canada." So he told me, "Hey, are you interested to fight?" I said, "Man, I'm in my late 20s already. I'm like 28, 29, yeah." So I don't know for everybody, but for me at that time, I'm in my late 20s, and it goes like, "Oh man, I'm kind of late there, you know. I'm not in my mid 20 or early 20, and you know, got your call, you're very feel confident to fight, and you want to become the world champion."
Yeah.
I mean, my late 20s where like I say, yeah, I don't know, you know. So I gave it some thought, and I say, you know, even though you just sat there, you want to really necessarily become a world champion, I just want to go test myself against a well-conditioned athlete. That's what my thought going into it, right? So I said, sure, why not? Let's do it, right? So I went. I did my first competition, and then in my mind, you know, it's crazy how sometimes, like they say, you have a fight and you have some knowledge, right? It's very true because you learn all that and you're going to be able to apply it, but it's not very, very necessarily the case, right? Not all the time the case. So anyway, you know, go to all the move and this and that. And then I go into my first fight. The only thing I have in my mind is that defense, solid, sunshine, take it and let him tire out and punch him out. That was the game plan I had, right? Even though you know, so it was so funny because like, yeah, the first round, it doesn't hurt me really. He was taller than me too, right? I'm 5'6", he was pretty like maybe 6'1", and I fought at around I fought 155, 170 around that time. And at that time, I think I fought at 170. That was the first fight at 170, right? So I said, okay. And when he hit me, he didn't hurt me whatsoever. Like I say, you know, and but the thing is that you're gonna lose by decision because you just block, you don't answer back, or even when you try to punch back, you miss because you know you just want to knock the other guy out. That's what I want. And then so, you know, I went in there. It was a very good experience because like even though Ninja Molo, you know, like you and I remember in my head, I remember very, very clearly. He gave me like a push kick to my head, and my face was like this, boom, like in a video. And I went like this, and I turned my back, which really a big cross, boom, pop him. I know I gave him a bloody nose, and I was gonna finish him up, but boom, he got saved by the first round. That was the first round.
Oh man,
he got saved by the bell, right? Yeah. And after that, after first round, I got no more energy. I was just standing there and like because like remember my strategy is just to take it and just throw those knockout, right? But the thing is that like I say, if the first one I got you just do what kind of your brain tell you to do. So just block and counter. But like he get tired, you miss, he keep on popping you. So it was and I remember use your leg, kick him, and I just kind of stand there and no more energy. It was very, very fun. But so I lost by decision, and then you know, that was my first fight. And after that, I have 2 more fights. I lost another one. I won one because I more evolved. So I was able to catch what my coach was teaching me, but also can implement what I want, you know? So technically I only have 3 amateur Muay Thai fight, you know, I'm 1 and 2. Not the best record, but it's something that you learn because Konyamu exposed on the ring here, right?
Yeah.
So then after that, like I say, by the time I kind of retire, I say, oh man, maybe it's not for me no more because right? And I say, well, it's time to move on. I got a good taste of it. I got an experience on the ring. But then at the same time, to point you, we used to learn under the same Achan master. And they say, hey, why don't you come and help me? And, you know, give it 2-3 years. I give you your black belt, your black pracha, right? and then you can coach, and you can. Why don't you become an official? Because you still be involved with the sport. So why not? Because today, I'm 30, and then I got nothing else to do because like we all know, after high school, man, everybody got married or they go to college or they had their career. You don't see your high school friend anymore. So I'm by myself. I used to play a lot of soccer. I used to play rugby, volleyball, but that was high school time, right? And after high school, you're by yourself. Like, what do I do? What do I want to join? Yeah, I'm gonna go back into martial art because in a way you're kind of by yourself in a way, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to really need 2 or 3. You need it, but you don't need to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like I can just train on my own. I can just coach or whatsoever. Boom. That's how I went back into. That's why I say, okay, I will get my crew certification as a teacher, and also want to get my Canadian judge and referee certification. So after that, I rough about 100, 200 fights before I moved to the state in 2010, right? So to move to the 10J, that I didn't really do anything very. I was still I got my license to teach and whatnot. I taught at a few clubs here and there. It's a long story, right? I got married and all that, but fast forward here to maybe 2017, 2018. I say, okay, I kind of settled down enough teaching here and there, but then I want to get back to martial art, right? So in TBA, they want Iowa, there's like certification to become another official. So I want to take the classes. I'm a certified judge and referee under La Honey organization, okay, and also like got my crew credential. So that's why I say, okay, I went back into it back in 2017, 18 to get back into the martial art competition kind of aspect, right?
Nice.
And then what I benefit from that is that being an official is that sometimes because you're official, you see some of the thing that it to coach because big coach, man, when you coach, you just want your student to win. That's it. You don't know too much about the world. Just go, use your brain and win the fight. But as an official, it taught me that, okay, there's certain rules that you have to follow. There's certain time that you got to attack. You got to utilize that. You got to be smart, and all the extra thing that you don't know as a coach. So it helps me a lot as far as like being an official. So it gives you different aspect of the game, because as a coach, we don't very fully aware of the rules and regulations. So once you're aware of that, it make more sense, your kasasu, like a fight is only 2 minutes, right? So it goes very fast. So and then there's illegal head, good head, and all the extra things. So I think I learned a lot more and improved my game as a coach, knowing all those rules and regulations than not knowing them.
Nice.
That's why, like us, that's where you want to kind of see both aspects, just from being a coach and being an official. So I recommend any of the coaches who have like coach credential to get some extra classes to become an official.
Yep.
Anyway, it helps me a lot, because like I say, like now that I've been like got my certification with the TBA, which is in Day 1 Iowa, I must have like rough and judge over like close to 1,000 fight.
Nice. So lots of experience now, right?
Yeah. Close to 1,000 fights. So every little mistake that I see when I judge and referee, one mistake now, it don't matter if they're beginners or pro. You can see pinpoint the mistake, so then you can go to your student and tell them, okay, don't do those mistakes because I've seen it more than enough. So then I'm teaching you this way so you don't make the mistake. So yeah, that's you get a lot of benefit being right there.
Yeah, I can agree with that because, as a power lifter, I'm also a judge and referee myself. And I feel like understanding the rules, or, maybe you dab a little bit into lifting, or maybe you dab a little bit into Muay Thai, but I think competing and putting yourself under those rules and regulations, and then seeing those rules being applied to you when the pressure's not on you really opens up your mind a little bit about what it is to be a good fighter or what it is to be like a good lifter. And you kind of pick up some things too, right? Like sometimes you might see some fighters do some things where you're like, ah, wow, that was really good, right? Maybe that's something
Yeah.
that I might want to teach somebody, you know. And
Mm.
I learned a lot from really good lifters as a judge myself, you know. So I
Yeah.
can definitely agree with that. But the next thing that I kind of want to go into is what you kind of talked a little bit earlier when you were saying, like, you know, when you're kind of going through that hump of you um going into like Muay Thai right after high school and doing all these different martial arts. How did you how were you affected um by the Hmong culture when you decided to take these steps? Because I remember you were saying like a lot of Hmong people, we always talk about you got to go to college. Or if you're a woman, you know, it's generally you want to get married. And if you're not going to get married, then go become like a nurse or a pharmacist or something like that. So generally, a lot of Hmong people, we don't have like a lot of paths, I guess, that a lot of OGs would look as successful or things that people would be like, all right, you know, I want to tell the whole world about who you are, you know? So as a lifter, you know, now that I'm as successful as I am, I think people are giving me a little bit more respect than before. But when I first started, all you hear was like nagging, you know, people telling you that you're wasting a
Yeah.
lot of time, lifting weights is dumb, you're not going to get any money out of it, you know, things like that. And I'm pretty sure, you know, the path that you took when it comes to martial arts and things like that is probably just maybe something
Yeah.
similar. So, could you explain a
Yeah.
little bit about how that affected you and why you came back, you know, in
Mm.
2017 when all these things are happening
Yeah.
to you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, just from my personal perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta remember, like I'm 48 now, so you know I'm in that age where like I experienced. I when we first moved here, teach a blotte, right,
Yeah.
to Fakitech. I first moved in France, lived there for 11 years, moved to Canada, lived there for 20 years before I actually like moved to the state in 2010. So remember, like I'm with the first wave of Hmong kids who moved from Laos to like say a more modern country, right?
Yeah.
So, and everything is brand new for like us as young and as bit of parents, right? So, you know, yeah, definitely there was some, everything was new. Everybody as kids and parents were getting used to this new lifestyle. So, you know, what I get out of it was that, yeah, I understand my parents, they never went to school and they only know that, you know, to make a better living for ourselves, we gotta go to school, have a high education, and that's how we're gonna make it. Otherwise, we're just gonna end up working in a factory and you know all that. So that was the mentality, and I went through that. So yeah, you know, after high school, such a like you know, like yeah, I continue to Kandao and all that. But you know, I'm one of us. Like I say, when I was young, I was chubby and reserved. But
Uh,
when I became teenager, I lift weight, I play sport, I martial art, then you build your confidence. And don't listen
yeah.
to my parents too well. So so then yeah, you know, I said, no, I'm not gonna go back to school because I know I don't like school. I'm
Yeah.
just being honest here, you know. So I'm just gonna go work. So right after high school, a little bit here and there, my friends. But then also, you know, like I was, you know, I didn't want to stay in my just work, for, you know. So I was working, but then also I was doing my martial art stuff. So because
Yeah.
I know that you have that, hey, you know, we live in North America, you know, anything's possible. I already have that mentality back then, right?
Yeah.
I already have mentality that, wow, you know, we live in a country that's, you know, like anything you can do, you can make it happen. And we're talking about like early 90s, right? I
Yeah.
already kind of know that. So, but you know, I there's just no go get a high education. But you know, so after high school, so you're like, yeah, you know, I just went to work, and I still have that like you know, I can make something out of like martial. So that's why. But then I told you the story where like you know I trained very hard, and then you know they cancel a fight. So
Yeah.
it kind of breaks you down again. But then I'm thinking, hey, you know what? If I cannot be a fighter, maybe I can be a coach. I get paid for that or be an official. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, why not? I was gonna make money out of it.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me continue in my journey. Yeah, I do have my parents or hey, don't continue on that path because that's not the right path. You're gonna get injured. Even if you don't fight, you're not gonna make that much money, right?
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? It by then it was a hobby. So if I can make some money, even a little bit money with my hobby, why not, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I continued that path. But yeah, it was very hard because at that time she almost like older generation to like no, that's not good, that's not good. But you just stick and you persevere, and then you reach to the point where like, and then the extra point was that yeah, you stay healthy, you stay healthy. And then I remember I thought I think my mom, can't remember, that was long ago, and my parents passed away in a car accident. So but anyway,
Oh man. Rest in
yeah,
peace.
we're not gonna go into like detail, but like
Yeah.
so then like I say, what do I just want to go hang around on the weekend with my friend and drink and hobby and I'm so I want to do something beneficial for me that's gonna make me last, which is like martial art, which
Yeah.
is like taking care of yourself, which is not necessarily just live weight, but you can exercise to stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
So we don't we talk about the aspect then ito nang totohanan na, and that's why I understood that stay healthy, make money with some hobby, then why not, not necessarily to become a world champion, but doing something that you enjoy and make money, why not? So that's why I continue my path into it, and then yeah, it brought me more happiness as opposed to
Yeah.
just like okay being bored and feel sorry for myself, or like just go every weekend drink and do what's some other stuff that is not gonna be very helpful, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I stick to my journey, which was just to try to stay healthy and enjoy life.
I like that. So would you say if they were a little bit more supportive, you think you probably would have fought in more matches as a
Yeah,
younger
for
person?
sure.
Because I know you were saying like, you
Yeah.
you saw like an end to the competition side of Muay Thai, but that doesn't mean that the journey to learn about Muay Thai ended, right? So
Right.
generally, if you would have had more support and you were, let's say, younger during the
Oh
time,
yeah.
fought more, do you think you probably would have
Yeah.
had
Oh
more
yeah.
drive, right?
Yeah. I think anybody who have more
Yeah.
parenting support then will benefit more, And then,
Yeah.
uh, 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 but and then the timing was different, right? Remember,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we just so I understand my parents too, and then understand what's going on. So I and then you brought that up. So yeah, of course, that's why I mentioned. Oh yeah, any
Yeah.
support from your parents would be very, very beneficial. It don't matter if it was then or now, right?
Yep.
So to answer your question, oh yeah, for sure, I would have gone a lot way further down. I mean, Yoko Sase, right? Just think about Pitu lady gymnastic, right?
Yep.
She got fully support from her parents. That's why she became a medal. She went to the Olympic and she won
Right.
because of that support, right? And so not because it was the parents understood better the lifestyle in North America, so they became more supportive, right? So, like I say again, I'm not uh, 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 saying bad thing about my parents or parents at that time frame because that's just about lifestyle in the USA.
Yeah.
But younger generation and the younger parents who understand that they become more supportive of their kids. So that's why we can produce more champion in not just gymnastic, but other areas,
Yep.
soccer, wrestling, any other. When they have the support from their parents, then boom, anything's possible.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I just asked that is because I think a lot of us, especially when we start our passions or when we figure out who we are like a little bit later in life, one of the things we always think about or maybe even wish like, man, I wish I would have started a little earlier, you know, I wish I could have done this a little bit earlier. And then you think about like the kind of support that you have at the time and it just wasn't there because obviously, you know, the generations before us, you know, their priority is mainly for survival, you know, and I get that. You know, when
Yeah.
you show up
Yeah.
to a different country and you just want to focus on, you know, making sure that your family's fed and all that stuff. I understand that education and everything is like, you know, key, you know, but just for today, you know, I want people to understand where that mentality comes from and why, like
Yeah.
today, that, like you said, now that's not really a healthy way to think about life anymore. You know, nowadays, I will almost argue like if you have a passion or a hobby like you, it's actually more crucial now. Because again, it goes back to what we are saying
Mhm.
earlier. You know, outside of just learning about Muay Thai, you're healthier, you're stronger, you learn more about
Yeah.
yourself, right? You learn how to defend yourself in case crazy stuff happens. You know, there's like lots and lots of benefits to
Yeah.
doing something that we
You get paid
originally
for your
used to think was
trouble.
dumb, you know?
Yeah.
So,
You get
and the
paid
cool
for your
thing too,
trouble, you know? Yeah.
yeah,
You know, as the official, they pay me for my trouble, you know? As a coach,
yeah.
they don't pay me.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
there's a lot of benefit other than just that, oh man, I'm old. I cannot pursue like Muay Thai no more.
Yep.
You can do it for health, to stay active. You can stay for self-defense. You don't need to compete. You know, like pay home mentality, nah? Pay home mentality. We have to go beyond Honey I can Chai don't want to do it because we're too old, nah? We have to go
Yeah.
beyond that, right? We have to see that, okay, what are the benefits? Oh, I stay healthy. Oh, I get paid to my trouble, which is like I get paid for like my passion. Not a whole lot, but they cover my gas and they cover my hotel. If
Yeah.
you want to make a lot of money in very like any kind of officiating, you have to be the top of the top official to make good money, right? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
But technically, you'll be traveling a lot too, I'm guessing, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, they
You know,
better pay you, right? Because now they're just paying for
yeah.
your
No,
time as well, right?
official, man. I don't know about powerlifting, no, but I know as far as like Muay Thai, I pay for hotel or gas money and for referring, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, however you make, it might not be the best, but it cover all that. So I'm happy. You know, I'm happy because also I have a full-time job, right? You know,
Yep.
this is also just my hobby that I continue to do. You know, so it's always a win-win in my the way I see it. And then now I get to bring all my experiences, and I can kind of explain that to the younger generation. You know, I say, you know, continue your path. You know, and then you can the mistake or the little like negative thing that happened to you, you can just like bypass that and teach for your generation that, you know, don't do that, or what road to choose if they want to choose.
Yep. And you know, I think, you know, that's also really good too, because you know how like you know, we were talking about how like if you would have had more support, maybe you would have started earlier, or maybe I would have gotten started, you know, a few years earlier. But then now, you know, looking at like you know, Warman, right? You know, with
Yeah,
Cooley and
Cooley.
them, you know, he's
Yeah,
got his kids, right, fighting already in
mhm,
competitions, right? Two of
yeah,
them. You got more
yeah,
kids, you know, thinking about Muay Thai or just getting into, like
yeah,
you said, like soccer. We got a lot of young soccer,
yeah,
more kids getting into gymnastics because of Sunisa
mhm,
Lee.
yeah,
And, you know, this past competition, you know, we had like what, 5 or 6, 15, 16-year-olds, you know, just come haven't powerlifted before, but, you know, they want to
right,
dab their
right,
feet into that, you know, and I feel like,
yeah,
you know, some of
I,
our struggles, even though we didn't really like some of that, you know, it made us better who at this moment into making the next
mhm,
generation's path just so much easier. You know, like if people wanted to become a powerlifter now, think
right,
about how easy it is to be one as a
yeah,
16-year-old versus when I was growing up, or even worse, you
yeah,
know, like when you and my parents and them were growing up,
yeah,
you know, the restriction on that is even worse. So I just wanted to, you know, shine a little bit of light on that. You know, when you think about the generation before into now, you know, even, you know, Coach Lee, right? He at his age still went through very similar things that we went through as we were growing up. But the one thing that stayed consistent was the path that he set upon himself in terms of how Muay Thai physically helped him mentally, and even stopping a little bit, even coming back into it some more, you know? So it's almost like no matter what you do, no matter what stage you are in your life, whether you're young, kind of getting, you know, to that older generation, OG generation, you know, it's always about, again, your passion, the things that bring you back,
Yeah.
no matter what. And Muay Thai
Yeah.
was that for you, right? It brought you back
Yeah.
at this point in your stage, and you're still learning more, you know? And I just think if people open up their minds a little bit, just beyond the weights and the barbells, and they look at, you know, folks like you know, folks like, you know, Cooley and Warman and some of the kids that they got going over there, and some of these cyclists and all these marathon
Yeah.
runners, that there's so many different options that you're not just limited to, oh, if I want to lose fat, then I have to lose weight and eat no more rice. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay unhealthy the rest of my life, you know, not realizing you can do other
Yeah.
things, you know? So
Yeah, it's true. As you know, the term being healthy, it's and I'm not just talking about home, but even make a healthy, you know, I don't know how people picture that in their head. I think most of the people picture being healthy having like a nice muscle and a six pack, you know, that's what
point. Yeah.
general people picture of being a healthy person. I say no, you don't need to be necessarily have a six pack and nice chiseled muscle. You can just be like, I can just have my that body that I have right now and be healthy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Be healthy. And like I say, you know, at 48 years old, Gucha Spadok, with my students who are like 20,
Agree.
30 years, you know, and then they have a six pack and everything. You know, for me, like I say, being healthy is, you know, be able to be active and cut okay. Like I say, if you go like 5 or 6 stairs in the building, you don't hop and puff. That's being healthy to me, right?
Yeah.
So that's you know, and then we have a lot more other option being healthy than just lifting weight, like you say. You know, we can just do martial art, we can run, we can do swimming. All those aspects of being active will keep you like conditioning and all that, you know, intact.
Yep. And then, you know, the one thing that is right for you is the thing that always bring you back to it. No matter where you are in your life, Muay Thai always brought you back. Not Taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not lifting
I
heavy,
think,
right? None of that stuff.
It's a passion, right?
Yeah.
You know how like sometimes people just, I don't know, but the people who are into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? We call it BJJ. They're crazy about BJJ, right? And they say, oh, that's great, you know. But you know, you gotta have that passion, right? That don't matter how old or young you are. If you have if your passion is intact, then no problem.
Nice. All right. So Coach Lee, is there anything else I guess that you wanted to talk about, you know, beyond just what we've talked about? You know, you could talk a little bit again about your business, where you kind of coach a little bit, because I feel like if anybody was interested in getting into Muay Thai competitions, or maybe just some of the things that you were talking about and your philosophy, you know, maybe they can reach out to you, you know. So go ahead, and I'm just opening the floor up to you, you know, for the last five minutes or so.
As far as I know, there's a lot of like younger the younger generation, male, female, like they got more interest into just like not just Muay Thai but combat sport now. I tell them, yeah, you know, all you got to do, and they always come to me and say they don't know where to go. I say it's very simple. If you don't know nobody, just Google that and you look at the star, how many they rate that club. That's all. Right? So that's how you're gonna get started into whatever martial art you want to get in. Now, you know, there's a lot of good club in Minnesota. Like I say, Cooley, Warman, they're a very good top team already. And but they also between the Twin City, there's also the Stella Club, you know, or the Martial Academy of Minnesota. That's another very good club. So there's always 3 or 4 clubs between the Twin City if they want to get into Muay Thai or combat sport to join those like club. Yeah. So all you gotta do is Google it. You know, go try a few classes, see if you like it. If you don't like it, go try something else. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for here. he sent me here, like, Pelu genre lacrosse chez Mejan Media. So
Yeah.
like just lacrosse itself is about 51,000, right? But then you got more lacrosse there, but on your genre right next to it, like on Alaska and Holman, then we bring up our population to about 100,000. So which is not too bad. Better than 51,000, right?
Yeah.
And then Pelu genre Media, the only two clubs that is popular and who compete is where I coach, which is like, it's called Ironwork Driftless Academy in downtown. And then the other one in Holman on the north side is called Ironwork Training Facilities. They have slightly different name. It's just because like the different owner, but they all started together. That's why the name. So I coach at both club. The Pelu
Nice.
I coach like for Muay Thai, and I coach for MMA striking, because that's a different ball game. So to get involved, just go and look on the Google, and then go try the club, So
Nice.
that's how you're gonna, and then see if you like it or you don't, because sometimes like some teacher from other places, you might like their teaching better. So again, go and try it, because they always give 1 or 2 free class for you to try it. And then the next step is that I have 1 or 2 younger person who approached me, and they asked me, how do I get into judge and refereeing? And I said, what, the easiest way to do is, there's a lot of different organizations, so you just pick and choose the one with, like, again, you pick and choose the best rated one. For me, I got introduced to TBA because I know by word of mouth that it was a good organization, and I could exposed to that. Not just I know a lot of teams who go and fight in there, so I already know their reputation is a good organization. And to honor, like, he's a very good guy, so that's why I joined that. I become certified. But if you want to be an official for like martial art, Muay Thai or kickboxing, there's like 2 or 3 other organization. Is the World Kickboxing, WKA, is a very good organization. And then there's also like one that just opening up, which is on the top of my head. But like I said, like, again, if you want to be official, if you think, a new compete, but you still want to be involved in some kind of passion or martial that you want to pursue, become an official. Do some search on Google and just join them. Simple.
Nice. Yeah, thanks, man. Because I'm pretty sure, whoever watches this, if you're interested, like Coach Lee said, just look it up, find a good club, and then if you want to get involved,
it's a
look
lot
at the
easier
federation.
now nowadays with internet and Google.
Yeah.
Back in my days, 1990, you don't have that. You don't have that yet. You have to learn everything. You got to go and try it. Like, it's the same thing like lifting weight. Nobody taught me how to lift the weight. Here's a funny quick story. Like back then, 1990, I just know I want to be stronger, so I go to the gym. You mimic them. That's all I do, right? And that's how you become
the best way to get started.
Right? Now it's like, all you gotta do is internet, Google. Okay, how do I best exercise to lift to have a good chest or good leg, or build your arm. I was like, everything's so easy. But then now, like, how high there, there's too much information. They don't know what to pick and choose. I tell them, pick the easiest, simpler way to approach that, and that's it. And try it, and then see, go from there.
Keep it simple. All right, Coach Lee, there's one last thing I want to ask you before we get off, right? So next J4, I'm thinking about doing like a powerlifting meet. And it's going to be unsanctioned, but we're going to follow powerlifting rules, but it's unsanctioned, meaning like it's not associated with like any federation, anything like that. What say if you were to do like an unsanctioned, Muay Thai match, or like an MMA match or something like that, would that be something in the future possibly? Would you be able to put something like that together? And again, it doesn't have to be big, but that would be something, right? Wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Thinking about something like that.
I mean, you got at least sanction, unsanctioned. It's, you have to look at the the liability, right?
Yeah.
Somebody got injured, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, sanction, unsanctioned. I don't know about powerlifting, but like I say, you got martial art. Let's say you do Muay Thai, okay? It can have like a small competition between like maybe a few people. You win a prize, right? Because that's unsanctioned, right? Even though like I'm a judge and a referee from like one organization, the you have to think what happened if they get injured. That's what you have to think of, right? So if they get injured, like let's say if they got like they receive an elbow and they have an open cut in the forehead, it costs money to go to the hospital and more sauna, right? So that's in that aspect is that, well, you know, if nothing happened, it's great, but if something happened, it costs too much money.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Not just to hold the tournament, but to call to near athlete because every organization that does, and the one that you want to pick and choose is always the organization that, okay, if you get injured, are your medical is going to be covered. Okay, so that's the most important thing when you do some kind of organization tournament or whatsoever. That's the first thing you want to look at. So am I answering your question correctly?
Yeah, no. You are. I mean, well, you know, the question is just like, I'm just throwing it out there, like, because obviously, you know, I'm not a judge, but I'm a judge for powerlifting, and I know how that works, you know. So I didn't know that might be something that we can offer, but you know, I understand there's a lot of logistics to it because one of the reasons why I didn't want to run the powerlift like a full powerlifting meet is because I need special equipment. You know, it's hard to have a 6 foot guy squat with a guy that's 5 foot like me, and then who's gonna move 500-600 pounds from like 4 feet to 6 feet, you know what I mean, and then move it back down, you know, again and again. That's tough, right?
And then if you move the equipment, it got to
exactly.
That's extra stuff. That's like all about that, like liability and like safety of not only the competitor, but the one who helped you move all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, generally though, you know, I was against it at first, but you know, because there's so many people that wants to do that, you know, this next upcoming year, that's going to be one of my goals to try to have one run, you know. So again, you know, I'm not saying that you have to do something like that, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there, like possibilities, you know, that would just be something really cool, you know.
No, that's you know, it's a good idea. Like I say, it's a good idea for sure. But after that, we have to go deeper into it.
I got you. Yep. So again, you know, just some talks for the future. But Coach Lee, you know, I appreciate you and your time. Again, you know, like a brother to me, you know, always been there from, you know, part of the beginning of my journey kind of to where I am now. And I kind of wanted to just give him a little love, especially on the Muay Thai side, the mixed martial arts side, self-defense, because I feel like a lot of people overlook that, especially in, you know, just the Hmong community in general. You know, we disvalue something that people in our community are doing, especially our coaches, for you know, for anything, you know, even for myself, you know, I feel like we're undervalued, and I want to remind people that what we offer is not something that if you just wanted to try to do, that you're going to be successful without a coach or a guidance or right? And even, you know, Kong, the previous person that I was talking with, you know, for bodybuilding, he's a coach right now, and he hires a coach. You know, I'm a coach, one of the best lifters in the world, and I have a coach. You know what I mean? So like, no matter how good you are, it's still a good idea that if you want to get into combat sport or something like that, to find a good master, a dan teacher and guidance. And, you know, Coach Lee is somebody that I would recommend, especially if you're more of a defensive, more technical, you want to learn a little bit on the deeper end versus being aggressive. He's my guy. Check him out. You know, Ironworks Driftless Academy. He also comes into, you know, the Twin Cities every now and then, so try to catch him, learn from him, and maybe we'll see him at the next tournament as well. Maybe in the future throwing some events, who knows, right? But that's just kind of throwing it. We're just throwing it up
volunteer,
you know, just throwing it up.
Always good for a good cause and volunteer.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for having me, James. I
appreciate that. Yep. But that's pretty much it. So you catch me on the next episode, all right?
All right, will do. Bye.